xQc, do you like the cookies from Subway?
Kim.com. He's
Subway
been called
cookies.
the titan of terabytes,
Subway.
the El Chapo of file sharing, and the king of copyright infringement. If you don't know him, he's a mega hacker and mega businessman who ran a digital empire called Mega in the early 2000s. Its cash cow Mega Upload had millions of daily active users and brought in over 175 million in revenue. The website was brilliant, both for its user-friendly front-end UI and distributed back-end that allowed people to share massive files around the world, which was almost unheard of at the time. There was just one problem. The website made its money by selling ads, and those ads were served primarily on pirated material, like movies, music, and software. In 2012, the FBI shut down Mega Upload and raided Kim's mansion in New Zealand. But for the last decade, he's managed to avoid extradition to the United States and has remained a high-profile rich dude. That is until yesterday, when a New Zealand judge ruled that he could be handed over to the United States to be tried as a pirate. In today's video, we'll look at the mega crazy story of Kim.com and the technical features behind Mega Upload. It is August 15th, 2024, and you're watching The Code Report. Kim Schmitz is a German hacker who got famous as a teenager when he hacked into NASA and the Pentagon. That's pretty based, but in 1994 he was arrested for selling hacked phone numbers, then convicted of more hacking charges in 98, but never did any significant jail time because the judge chalked it up to youthful foolishness. He then pushed his luck further in 2001 when he bought a bankrupt website called letsbuyit.com during the dot-com crash. He told everyone he was going to pump a bunch of money into it, and after the stock went up, he dumped it for a quick profit. He was doing pump and dump rug pulls before they were cool. He tried to move to Thailand and fake his own death, but once again was arrested and once again received a suspended sentence. And despite his convictions, he eventually immigrated to New Zealand on an investor visa, and that brings us to 2005 and the rise of Kim's mega empire. It was a collection of websites that did everything from payment processing to philanthropy, but its core service was file uploads, like a precursor to Dropbox.
Chat, you guys, I don't know how old you guys are, okay, but anything you wanted, anything you had to get anywhere was on Mega Upload. You would probably get like a third-party ad website that would like AdFly or whatever, and then go to Mega Upload. But even the things that weren't even pirated, most of it was on Mega Upload.
Precursor to Dropbox or Google Drive. Its HTML-based UI was faster and easier than iTunes, but most importantly, it allowed anyone to upload extremely large files. These uploads could be paused and resumed, and each download would generate a unique link that could be shared with your friends. And they were able to scale to a massive level with techniques like file deduplication, where a hash is generated for a file. So if you try to upload the same pirated Seinfeld episode twice, it only actually takes up the space of one file. Mega also had a certain level of security and encryption to protect user data, but it wasn't totally anonymous, and after the seizure, none of the users got their data back, although Mega Upload continues to live on as Mega. Nowadays, Mega uses zero-knowledge encryption, where data is encrypted on both the client and the server, so no third party, including Mega, can know what you uploaded. What was absolutely genius, though, is that Mega Upload had an affiliate program that rewarded users for generating downloads, which eventually snowballed into Mega accounting for 4% of global internet traffic and wheelbarrows filled with money for Kim. Unfortunately, the party came to an end in 2012 when the website was shut down, the servers were seized, and Kim's New Zealand mansion was raided. They took everything, including his Toyota Velfire. Now, Uncle Sam has been trying to get his hands on him ever since, but New Zealand screwed up the search warrant and spied on him illegally, and his extradition has been delayed multiple times. But now it looks like the walls are closing in, and the United States has the green light to take him. In addition, last year, 2 former Mega Upload executives were sentenced to prison, but the real guy they want to make an example of is Kim.com. They say he cost the entertainment industry $500 million, but there's multiple philosophical debates to be had here, like, is piracy actually theft? Is privacy a fundamental right for people on the internet? And should cloud providers retain data and give access to...
let's be honest, even if they get the guy, sentence the guy, let's be honest, it's a win for nobody.
The government for criminal investigations. Some things are always morally correct, like pirating Adobe products, but for many of these issues, there's no clear answer. Kim.com has been a huge advocate for privacy on the internet, and he's denied that Mega Upload was designed to encourage copyright infringement. Instead, it's just a content-neutral platform and shouldn't be liable, like in the same way that an internet service provider shouldn't be liable for illegal activity. That argument's probably not going to work in federal court, but don't worry, Kim has a plan. Some people think he might slip away into Russia to go live with Tupac and Michael Jackson in Siberia. The only problem with that plan is that Russia's not very privacy focused and just recently banned the encrypted messaging app Signal. One thing's for sure though, Kim.com won't go to jail without a mega fight. This has been The Code Report. Thanks for watching.
Chat, didn't they kind of like reshape these laws around or whatever? Where it's like all they have to do now is show good faith, or if a user uploads things that are like copyright, they slap them on the wrist a couple times, whatever, and then they ban the user, and if they do that, over and over again, they're kind of fine and they're still in good standings or whatever. That kind of how that works. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sup, yo?
Streams and they make me want to kiss you.
Oh, a browser war, no way.
The World Wide Web is arguably the most critical pillar of human civilization today. John Perry Barlow called it cyberspace, the new home of the mind. In his Declaration of Independence of Cyberspace, he said, "We are creating a world where anyone, anywhere, may express his or her beliefs, no matter how singular, without fear of being coerced into silence or conformity. Freedom on the web has caused governments to fail, it's minted millions of new millionaires, and has allowed this one humble cat to be viewed trillions of times. But there's an existential threat to this openness. We tap into cyberspace via web browsers, with Chrome, Safari, Edge, and Firefox accounting for over 90% of the market share. All these browsers share technology."
Hold on.
Existential threat to this openness. We tap into cyberspace via web browsers, with Chrome, Safari, Edge, and Firefox accounting for...
Yeah. Chat, guys, I think people use Safari because it comes with the phone, right? And people misclick it because they don't set their default browser back to Chrome when they get an iPhone, but they don't actually want to use it. I feel like Safari boasts their stats, but the shit is bricked in. Like, when I click a link, it opens on Safari. I don't actually want to use it, but they probably put me as a user. That shit's trash.
For over 90% of the market share. All these browsers share technology or funding controlled by Google. Thank God Google's not evil, but hypothetically, if it was evil, it could pool its resources to exterminate all cat memes from the internet. As a society, we can't allow that to happen, and luckily, there's someone actually doing something about it. It is August 12, 2024, and you're watching The Code Report. He who controls the spice controls the universe, but he who controls the browser controls the internet. You may not realize it, but the browser wars are raging right now. Firefox just launched tabs managed in the sidebar, which was already supported on the increasingly popular Arc browser, but as we speak, two separate open source browsers built in Rust are trending right now. Verso, which is built with the Servo engine, and Blitz, a super minimal web renderer. But I want to talk about something even more ambitious, a futuristic open source browser called Ladybird. In October 2018, Andreas Kling, a software engineer who worked on WebKit at Apple and Nokia, had just gotten out of a 3-month Swedish rehab program.
Okay.
Engineer who worked on WebKit at Apple and Nokia had just gotten out of a 3-month Swedish rehab program and was unemployed and bored. And when smart people like him get bored and don't have access to drugs, they start doing extreme things, like when he built his own operating system to use as a daily driver. That included a 1990s GUI with a late 2000s Unix CLI. Everything from the kernel to the web browser had to be made from scratch. And this is how Serenity OS was born, which is named after the Serenity Prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. On July 4th, 2022, the Serenity OS browser engine declared its independence as a cross-platform project. And now a full web browser, it was renamed Ladybird. Over 1,000 contributors, 500,000 lines of C++ code, and 2 years later, Andreas joined forces with one of the GitHub co-founders to form a nonprofit to manage the browser, believing the way to not have bad incentives is to have no incentives. The project is funded entirely by sponsorships and donations, and most importantly, the code is entirely free and won't borrow from other browsers. And that's a big contrast even to privacy-focused browsers like Brave, which is for profit and built on top of Google's Chromium. But speaking of tools that are free and open source, another incredible project you need to know about is Convex, the one true Firebase alternative and sponsor of today's video. As an app developer,
Are you fucking kidding me? There is absolutely no shot.
And let's get back to Ladybird and talk about the disappointing part. The first alpha version for Linux and Mac OS isn't expected until the summer of 2026, and you'll probably die of old age by the time the Windows version comes out. The good news is that you can play around with the code and build it from source on GitHub, but building a web browser from scratch is extremely complex, and the general...
Chat, this is for nerdo Andes. This is for fucking like wired in fucking bullshit and live in the shadows that fucking... This is for the rats. It's for the rats.
Consensus is that it's impossible to pull off.
Nobody will ever use that
web
shit.
Developers to build websites with their half-assed HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code, browser engines need to follow the W3C spec, which contains over 114 million words, and it constantly evolves with new features that raise the barrier to entry. It's not a project you build in a weekend by prompting ChatGPT. The developers have already built their own HTML and JS engines, creatively named libhtml and libjs, and are leveraging established tools like FFmpeg for videos. In software.
So what this guy's saying is that the market share
xQc
on the browser will stay the same for at least another 5 years before it even begins to be a war. And even then, it probably won't be a war, let's be honest. The monopoly will continue, and then it'll be the end of it. Gotcha. All right, gotcha. Anything else? I feel like I feel like I summarized this video pretty well, no?
Almost 4 years sub. Can I
You
get
should
a
probably
welcome
just go
the
back to
jungle
sleep,
for the
because
one
your
time?
Windows work computer will likely have a blue screen of death. Today, millions, if not billions, of Windows computers got insta-bricked around the world, thanks to an update pushed by enterprise cybersecurity firm Cloudstrike. And it's bad. Airports are shutting down, hospitals are unable to treat patients, banks aren't able to get your money, and the Arby's drive-thru window went down, forcing people to hunt stray cats in the street just for food. What's hilarious, though, is that a top cybersecurity firm just messed up the global economy in a way that the evil hackers they protect you from could only dream of. In today's video, we'll take a look at the technical side of this disaster and find out how such a catastrophic mistake like this can even happen in the modern world. It is July 19th, 2024, and you're watching the Code Report. Corporate America is in panic mode right now because everybody's work computers are bricked, and that means the hamsters can't keep spinning the wheels. A huge number of Fortune 500 companies use CrowdStrike for cybersecurity. It's got over 500 clients on the Fortune 1000 list. Its primary product is called Falcon, a tool that provides endpoint protection.
Chat, isn't this what you normally want to avoid? It's why you have a lot of passwords and a lot of things. It's like a one point of failure system. One system, this many companies, sounds ridiculous.
Clients on the Fortune 1000 list. Its primary product is called Falcon, a tool that provides endpoint protection using artificial intelligence and analytics to detect threats in real time. It is publicly traded, and its stonk is down right now, and for good reason, because everybody's blaming them for causing Windows to deliver its blue screen of death. Luckily, Mac OS users and Linux chads are unaffected. To understand why, we first need to understand how CloudStrike's Falcon sensor actually works. It's installed just like regular software, but integrates with the operating system at a low level, often using kernel mode drivers, and basically just sits there in the background looking for anomalies. It collects telemetry data, produces reports, and offers a bunch of other incomprehensible techno-nonsense products to justify multi-million-dollar enterprise contracts.
Chat, wait, I have that on my PC, chat. Guys, I have that on my PC, and it's from China. It's right here, chat. Look, it's called Riot Vanguard. Yeah, I have that on my PC. From China.
The bottom line is that it's third-party software that sits in the critical path of a computer, which means if it fails, the entire computer might fail. And that's exactly what happened here. Apparently, an automated software update last night had some bad code in it, and every computer that got that update is now dead. Now, part of the reason this is really bad,
oh my god, is this bad?
Is that it's not just a regular outage, but every affected computer needs to be rebooted in fail mode, so the driver can be removed manually. And most employees don't have access to do that on their own, and that means IT guys are going to be really busy today. It's the IT guy equivalent of being a surgeon in World War I. And the consequences are real. The London Stock Exchange was disrupted. Most Indian airports went down, causing them to write
Chat, some things you learn in school, some things that in school are being learned, generally should be replaced with basic IT computer mastering for everybody, so that in general, right, if you are given instructions how to do something, you should be able to navigate it. Such as, your IT guy's job should only be to fucking broadcast to you or whatever, like what to do, and you should be able to do it by yourself. There should be a requirement in every workplace that has computers to be able to fucking do that shit by yourself when given the instructions.
Boarding passes by hand, along with a ton of other issues. To CloudStrike's credit, they were quick to point out that it's not a security incident or cyber attack, and explained it this way.
Yeah, listen,
Admin passwords.
But they were quick to fix it, and the fix is really easy. All you have to do is detach the operating system disk, create a snapshot or backup of the disk, mount a volume to a new virtual server, navigate to the WinDir drivers directory, locate the file c0000291.sys and delete it, detach the volume from the new virtual server, then reattach the fixed volume to the impacted virtual server. Piece of cake, but option 2 is to go to Home Depot and buy a sledgehammer, then use it to uninstall Microsoft Windows and switch to Linux. I do feel really bad for the programmer who updated this driver though, because the tech lead's about to run Git blame and blame them for this whole mess. Not only is this person about to get fired, but they also have blood on their hands for shutting down the hospitals, transportation networks, and Arby's family restaurants that we need to survive. If you're that guy and you're watching this, don't feel too bad though. What we have here is a situation where the cure is more harmful than the disease.
Chat,
Public mega corporations are...
Question, chat. Guys, why don't they have a maybe a simulation boost or something like that? A sandbox that they push updates a day in advance, maybe even hours in advance, and test. It's a sample of every product out there, all the transportation, a hospital, and that thing has like a couple of each, and they run it through that as a simulation, and boom. You say they do. Well, clearly they don't because it failed. Hire me. I'll fix it.
Are under a ton of pressure to secure their computer systems, and they're constantly audited by third parties. A company like Macy's isn't going to go out and hire a team of 100 cybersecurity weirdos.
Yo, let me guess. It was, what a time crunch. Push it to live servers. Push it to live servers. Push it to live servers. Let me guess. That's what actually happened.
Like Cloudstrike a few $1 million a year to figure out cybersecurity for them, giving them someone else to blame when their system gets hacked. What everyone failed to realize, though, is that giving one company kernel access to the computers of most Fortune 500 companies might actually be a bad idea, because it only takes one automatic update with a misplaced 0.
That's what I said. It's a singular point of failure system. I said that. I'm so technological, Jack.
To nearly destroy the entire world. This has been the Code Report. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Because I'm so technological, man.
Smile.